What's going on, guys? It's your boy, Big Blue Drew 97 here to talk to you about this chapter of My Hero Academia, manga chapter 250 side. 250 side. I cannot say 7 right now. Manga chapter 257, titled Passage Forward to Whomever. And relatively speaking, this is a fairly short chapter in the sense of not a lot goes on like directly with the story. It's pretty much most of, if not half of this entire chapter is just exposition, character interactions, and that's kind of it. And the ending of this chapter, it drops a bomb. But let's get started on what we basically get at the beginning of the chapter. Is basically the continuation of what was in the previous chapter, is learning about the previous successors of all four. Or one for all. My fault. I'm going to be getting those confused a lot in this chapter. But yeah, we basically get a little bit more understanding of the previous successors of One for All, because we do know that Deku is the 9th one. We all know that, and that there were 8 others before that, and the only ones that we know confirmed before this chapter was All for One's younger brother. He was the initial one when he had the stockpiling quirk fused and combined with his quirk to pass the quirk on to someone else. When they fused together, the stockpile where it became One for All. We also know Nana Shimura, who we know as the grandmother of Shigaraki Tomura. And then we also know All Might, as well as now we know Deku. So we know 4, as well as like the Black Whip guy, where we get his official name in this chapter, and as well as we get the Nana's quirk in this chapter. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. So yeah, that's basically like what they start discussing, is that Deku has the book, kind of like this one right here, just sitting out in front of them, and they're all just thinking like, so all of the information about the previous holders are in here, and we get a little understanding of like who's actually in here, and it's everyone except for the 2nd and the 3rd user. Now, there's a little theory floating around there that Bakugo is like the 2nd one. I am not a big fan of just time loops in general, but I can see it working here, but I really hope that's the case. And I think that's what a lot of people are thinking, is that Bakugo is one of the users, and we don't know who the 3rd user is. And it is explained in this chapter, is the reason why is because basically like it was during like the age of like the Dark Ages, so they really don't have that information on them, because they really wasn't like at that time possibly like catalogs and quirks, or they may have names for them now, but during that time like they probably didn't have names for them. So it was just during this dark era where they physically could not collect the data on them, so there's no data of that time, because it's just like how everything, and especially what we learn a little bit later on, the reason why they probably don't have that information is probably because All for One wanted it that way. So yeah, we basically get the confirmation of who the 5th user is, which is the bald dude, and his name is, and just give me a moment, hopefully I can pronounce this correctly, the name of the 5th user is Daigoro Banjo, and his quirk is Black Whip. We knew what his quirk was, but we get like a little description of like how he kind of used his quirk, where he basically like used like the string-like quirk, the rope-like energy quirk, which we now know is confirmed to be energy, and to like maneuver in mid-air and ensnare enemies. So we get that confirmation in this chapter. And even with Deku and them, they're realizing, yeah, he's the 5th user, and like he's already has like an understanding of like how to like use it, but he cannot use it to like the same level as like Sero, even with Sero or Aizawa Sensei. But they're all thinking like, so okay, this is the guy, this is the information. And Bakugo chimes in and is like, yeah, this power seems pretty weak. And if anything, what I enjoy most about this chapter is the interactions, not between Deku and Bakugo, but just between the students, and later on Aizawa and All Might. But this interaction is just basically Deku's like, Bakugo's just looking at this dude's quirk, looking at it, and is like, huh. Yeah, his quirk is freaking weak. And Deku's like, I think it's cool. And Bakugo is like, of course you'll think it's cool, you quirkless weeb. You would obviously think this is cool. And he's like, oh, that's cruel, Kachan. And then All Might is like, well, Bakugo isn't wrong. And we get the explanation for like why they probably don't have a lot of information on these guys is because it was during like, technically the powers that they had then were like nothing compared to All For One. And All For One, because he was so powerful and that he was so dangerous, he was just like destroying the most powerful heroes. Like if someone popped up and was like, I'm gonna be a great hero, would get like just stomped out by All For One, and that's what he wanted. And we also get a little bit of confirmation that the villains that we see now are like small fry in comparison to like what they were back then, which makes sense because like during the time like anyone could have been like a villain and use their quirks to like just wreck stuff, and there weren't a whole lot of heroes that do it. So it makes sense that during that time like villainy reigned, especially when the king of the villains was like at his prime and like was terrorizing the world. And we kind of get, and this is something that a lot of people probably thought that Deku got the power because he's the chosen one, but we basically get an understanding of like how the previous users were chosen or how they were not chosen, because it is established here that there is no such thing as the chosen one, which you kind of got a gist of when like they realized that Mirio should have been in many cases the next successor for One For All, but All Might decided to choose Deku because he just had that spirit. But from what we learned, the previous successors, they weren't just looking for like, oh, let me look for like the best successor. Let me look for the person who will cultivate this power, who will like make this power their own. And no, what they did is that they basically just entrusted it to someone. Like it was probably someone that they knew like very well. But it wasn't like someone who was like, oh, you would be the best person to hold One For All. Here you go. It's more like, I'll take the power. Don't let him get. It's basically like they gave it on their deathbed, which is kind of reminiscent of like the little special that we saw with All Might when he sees his master dying and being killed by All For One. That's and what we see is that's kind of how it was for everyone else. They literally like entrust the power to like someone else that they might have trusted, not because that they were worthy, but because like, yo, I'm gonna die. Like this power is the only way to defeat him. Take it, run, live. Just make sure he doesn't get it, because guess what? Like I'm gonna die right now. So that's basically what happens, and we kind of get a look of like basically like the last moments of each of the like the previous like successors. Like we already know how Nana died, but we also know how the fifth died. He's all bloodied, and possibly we know the fourth and the Nana's seventh. We see the sixth, the fifth, and the fourth. Yeah, I can do numbers. So we see them, and we also get a confirmation that they all died young, which is the understanding of like why there are 9 different users of One For All, even though like realistically speaking, it's been like maybe 100 years, 200 years since they've had quirks, like lowballing at 100 years. Realistically speaking, maybe 3 or 4 should have actually occurred, but the fact that there are 9 just shows that, yeah, they died young. And so now, after they have this little history lesson about like, yeah, in the past, yeah, villainy was a whole lot worse than it is now, and so many people died young. But let's see what the next power is. And Deku's like, so what's my next power? What's the next power that I'm gonna have to learn? And he says, float. And this is the confirmation of what Nana's quirk was. It's float, and we see Nana with oh my gosh, with like All Might's teacher. I forgot his name, but like he has the ability to like fly and like jump around the walls. Oh gosh, I hate the fact that I forgot his name. But yeah, we have All Might's master here, and let me just say this: like, I thought that she might have had like a power quirk, like a quirk that like allows her to like use some type of ability that like uses force, air, like elements, or like an augmentation quirk. Apparently, it's just float, and what we can get from that is she just had the ability to fly, which means that everything that she probably did as a hero was just of her own physical strength. And that is confirmation because you see a picture of her and she is ripped. She has muscles on her arms, her chest, her legs. She is ripped. And I'm like, yeah. Yeah, you can beat me up anytime. But yeah, no. So we get the confirmation of float, and Deku's like, okay, so that's the new power that I'm gonna have to learn. I'm gonna have to learn how to fly. And Bakugo's like, ha, I win! And like everyone's like, what? Because Bakugo already knows how to fly, so he uses this as like, yes, I win. I already know how to fly. I don't have to spend time. You have to spend time on doing something that I already know how to do, so I can master on making my quirks better. And Deku's like, well, then I'll just master it faster. He's like, no, you're not. You're just gonna die. And it's like, well, I already did very well with like black weapons. Like, no, you're gonna die. And we just see this little like panel of like Deku's just like, no, I'm gonna learn this. Like looking at Bakugo, and Bakugo has his face ah. Like he's like killing him, and I think like this shows like, if anything, what you can get from this conversation and from that one panel just shows how close they have gotten, not as in friends, but as like a friendly rivalry. Like it's not like the rivalry, it's like, I'm gonna kill you. No, I'm gonna kill you. Or like, I'm gonna beat you down. It's more of like, still like, it's like they still have the mindset of, I want to beat you. But they're able to do it more civilly. Like at first, like Bakugo would have tried to kill Deku in this moment. Now he's only threatening to say it, and like that may not seem like a big difference, but it shows like how they're getting close together, which is later established later. But then after that little scene, we just get like just next 2 or 3 pages are just character interactions between Bakugo, Deku, and just all of the characters in 1A, just having this big hot pot in celebration of all of the things that are in the work study, and they start reflecting on the fact that, yo, in like 3 more months, we are going to be second years. And that's like, yeah, we're going to have like a brand new batch of first years. It's like, yeah, I mean, and like more people into the hero course, and like they're all being like, yo, this is great, and just having a good time, laughing. My favorite like interaction between this is between Bakugo and Shoto, where like the premise of it is that everyone's like, yo, the troubled children are coming in. If you don't help, you don't get me. And Bakugo's like, yeah. And there's like, oh yeah, we forgot who we were talking to. And he goes over and he's like, who chopped up these sheaves? Sheaves. And Shoto chimes in with me, and Bakugo calls him out and say, "If your big sister, you will make your big sister cry if she saw this." And I just find it hilarious, and I just enjoy that he has so much respect for Shoto's big sister, and that's just what I got from that conversation. I just find it hilarious because Bakugo, and like he's just a perfectionist. So yeah. It's basically character interactions between the students, having fun conversations, talking about what they're going to do for the new year. Everyone smiling and laughing, making jokes. And then we get a few panels of, not Bakugo, but of Deku just basically like complaining like, yo, I can't believe that I'm here. I never thought that I would have All Might watch me. I never thought that I would be able to have a normal-ish conversation with Bakugo. And it's like, I'm so blessed. And then you just have Tokoyami. It's like, yo, Deku, can you pass me the ponzu sauce? And he's just like looking, just like, Midoriya. And he's like, and Deku's like, oh yeah, ponzu sauce. Yeah, there you go. And then after that, we get towards the final scenes of the chapter where All Might is just outside in the cold, and Aizawa comes out because, if you remember last chapter, Aries' horn was acting up, and we get confirmation that Aries is going to start training next week. So, like after like a week from what's happening now, Aries is going to do more training, and Aizawa can see that there's something wrong with All Might. So, and he also, All Might thinks Aizawa, but they start going into this conversation where All Might confirms that he wants to live. but he's also struggling with the fact that like he feels like he's helpless because he lost his power and he doesn't think that he can really help people anymore. And like he's saying all of this, and Aizawa just comes like, yeah, you're just a workaholic. And All Might's like, harsh. Like, gosh, that hurt me more than Shoto's ice powers. Gosh, you just burned me, and gosh. But then you just have Aizawa just talking like, you need to rest a little bit. Like, you've been holding up this entire country, this entire world for decades. You've done plenty. All you just need to do is just be there for not just the students, but just be there for the people. Because by doing that, that's all the push that the people need to keep moving, just to keep on going. And after All Might hears this, and it's like, and also All Might hears this, also as our time to chill. So all you gotta do is just keep being yourself, just keep being the person that you've always been. And this just encourages All Might a little bit, like makes him feel a little bit better for all of this. And he's like that he thanks Aizawa, and it's like, but then he remembers like, yo, I need to tell you, yeah, we have to delay the meeting with Stain. And then we cut there, and I'm just thinking to myself like, wait, what's gonna happen with Stain? What were we going to do with Stain? We were gonna visit Stain in the prison. What are we gonna do next? What's gonna happen next? Literally, the final page of the chapter, it's like March, and it's like, okay, there's a time skip. All right, we're in March. And it's like the end of the month. I'm like, okay, the end of March, beginning of April. In Japanese, the school year ends during tax season. I'm like, okay, that's cool. And then years start turning. It's like, wait 1 second. It was like December. And this is March. It's been 3 months. Something was supposed to happen here, but I don't remember. And then I look down, I'm like, oh, it's the doctor for the Paranormal Liberation Front. It kind of looks like that doctor, and everyone's like, oh, it's a rare sight to see. He's like, oh, hi, morning. And then the final page is that day, heroes vanish from the city, and then everything just clicked together, and I realized, oh, this is probably the day of the raid on the villain's hideout, or the Paranormal Liberation Front's hideout. Well, shit. And then the chapter ends, and I just comes to this realization that we're like, it's right there now. Like, there's nothing else that we need to do. It's literally right there. And, like, I think to myself, like, there's only, like, 3 reasons why the heroes vanished from the city. A, they're all dead. B, they're doing the attack on the League of Paranormal Liberation Front. Or C, which is really out there, a new villain came in out of nowhere and warped them to a brand new area for all of the heroes to fight them. So, yeah, that's the end of the chapter. So yeah, not a lot happened, but this chapter is significant in the fact that we learn more about the previous users of One for All. We get some character interactions between Bakugo, Deku, and with the other students. We get All Might and Aizawa talking to each other, and All Might coming to realizations like, I gotta live. I can just be myself and just be there for everyone, and that's like what I can do right now to still be helpful. I may not be a hero, but I can still be helpful by just being there. And the fourth thing is all of the heroes disappearing, which implies that the attack on the Paranormal Liberation Front is at hand. So next chapter, we're probably going to start with either not seeing the heroes directly fighting against them, but getting a little bit more build up to how the actual heroes vanish. Most likely than not, they got all the heroes in just one big place, told them what's going to go on, told them the plan, and then bada boom, they're gone. Or what they're doing is they're like strategically going for like the members, like the base members of the Liberation Army, and like arresting them. We really don't know until the next chapter drops. But all in all, I thought this was a really good chapter of My Hero. When it comes to My Hero, what I enjoy most are the interactions between the characters, seeing like everyone in 1A interact with each other, having fun, like feeling like real actual students in school life. And I know this is a shonen manga, but I just enjoy those little things. Like these chapters are probably like why I continue reading My Hero, just like to see these interactions, as well as get more like development on the world and the characters as well. But just seeing the interactions is what I enjoy the most. So overall, I'll probably give this chapter a 4.5. If anything, if we got like something like huge in this chapter, like that could bring it up to that 5 status. But for me, just having the characters interacting and learning a little bit more about One for All, learning a little bit more about the users. If anything, like if we learned the names of the other 2 users that we saw in this chapter and knew their quirks, like this would have been a 5 out of 5 chapter, like hands down. If we had just gotten a little bit more lore dump on that, I would 5 out of 5, no questions asked. But without the way, hopefully you enjoyed watching this video. Hopefully you enjoyed this review. And hopefully I'll be able to catch you next time in the next video. Like, comment, subscribe. Do all of that shiz. And hopefully I will see you next time. Goodbye for now.